the thing that kept you going at that young age?
I just loved football. Like, it was in my DNA, you know. Did really well at Tottenham. Was working hard before the Under-17 World Cup in Mexico. The problem was I didn't sign anything when I was there in England. And then I went on to Burnley. I had people like Chalobah when I'm 15, and I just felt so out of place, you know.
What do you do for pleasure outside of playing football?
All my time goes to family, to be honest. 6 or 7 of us that got Nintendo Switches. We play Mario Kart. If you lose, you got to pay.
Who's the biggest loser, can you tell?
Michael Veld.
Oh, okay.
And he also doesn't pay up.
Oh, no, that's even worse. You can be mad at Mario Kart, but you got to pay up.
I wasn't too sure if I was going to stick around with football. It came through Twitter. It was like, do you want to come back and play National League in New Zealand? Play on the world stage against such big players has been a privilege. And that gave me the real hunger of playing again. I made some really good mates and was just playing for the badge, really. And just loved every minute of it. There was going to be a new football club. Once I got that call, and it was a no-brainer. Last season was crazy.
Yeah, obviously, it was crazy.
A new football club, 6 wins, no goals conceded. And then you just keep getting that sort of belief before you know it. We were Premier Plate winners. It was crazy.
I remember turning up to the stadium, not expecting absolutely anything, and then suddenly I see actual football atmosphere in the stadium. Yeah. Were you like also surprised about how crazy that was?
Yeah, massively. And it's like a 12th man going towards the port in the second half. It gives us a real massive lift. And last season we scored so many goals late, and that was down to them. It's no better feeling than playing in a packed out stadium.
Perfect Auckland FC player. Speed.
Jesse Randall.
Stamina. Shooting. Physicality. Passing.
Sorry, got it all wrong there. Passing. Francis. Crossing is passing.
That's true. They're all whites. How do you see the squad heading into the World Cup? Do you have to have a men purse to be a pro footballer?
I got into footballing life when I was 17, and it was one of the first things I bought. I still have the same one though.
What's more important, talent or hard work?
Hard work, you know, beats it all the time. Like, it's up to you if you want how hard you want to work.
Football players, you know, they go and work their asses off, and they might not even play in the weekends. You know, it's mental, is a lot of things in there, a lot of emotions. 100%. How do you deal with that?
It's probably one of the hardest things in football. You know, you need to ride through those battles, and even like the best players or the best football clubs, like, you can have these moments, right? So when you're having your highs, like I said, enjoy them.
A quick word before we dive in. If this content speaks to you, subscribing to the channel is one of the most powerful ways you can support what we're building here. That one small action can help us grow, attract the guests that you care about, and continue to build this to more than just a podcast, but a community and a movement. And now, let's dive in. Welcome to the Melding Muse podcast. Melding art and design, entrepreneurship, music, fashion, film, sports, gaming, and whatever's in between. We exist to showcase extraordinary people to inspire the next generation of creatives and leaders. My guest today is Howieson, father, husband, football player for Auckland FC, and former All White. We talked about his early life, his football career, challenges and ambitions, and the journey to Auckland FC. This is a story of resilience, sacrifices, success, setbacks, passion, and ultimately love. Now, if you love football and sports as much as I do, this episode is for you. Howieson, welcome to the Melding Muse podcast. How are you doing, my brother?
Yeah, good, thank you. Really excited for this, so let's go.
Let's do it. Man, I'm super excited to have you here. We were just talking before. A big fan of football, and also a big fan of what you've done in your career. You started very young, and you've been grinding for so many years, man. And that's one of the things that I think once when Amy told me about your story and stuff, I was like, man, I started researching about you, and then I was like, wow, that's amazing. And shout out Amy for setting me up and hooking me up with you to have you here and talk about your life, about your career, which is very exciting at the moment. Yeah, man. So first of all, congratulations for your career. I think I always try to give a bit of a thoughts of what I think about somebody's career at the beginning of the podcast. And I think one word that sticks out to me is resilience. I think that's one word that I think summarizes a lot of your career, because you've been through a lot, right? Through it all, from really, really young age, going overseas and going playing big leagues as well. Since I left at 16 to come here, so I know kind of what it's like to leave your family behind, and you know, so man, congratulations on that. And for people who don't know about this career, about all these things, let's just start with that. Let's start with life growing up for you, because that's another interesting thing about your life. You come from the South Island as well, rugby land essentially. So talk to me a little bit about your early life.
Yeah. Obviously my dad's Scottish.
Yep.
My mum's Samoan.
Yeah.
So not your usual mix.
Yeah. Your dad is a Scottish. He used to play as well, right?
Not my dad. Well, my dad used to play just locally.
Yeah.
my granddad played a bit in Scotland, but as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's
not an
right.
outfield player.
Oh yeah, your grandfather, that's the one. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously having that background and having 3 brothers, 2 sisters. Yeah, from my mum's side and obviously my brothers and that, a lot of it was rugby and basketball. But my old man was a big football fan.
Yep.
So he obviously got me involved with the football from a young age. It's always been football for me.
Really?
He's driven that. And, you know, to be back here playing in Auckland in front of him is quite amazing.
Oh yeah, I bet.
From what we've been through.
Yeah.
For myself and what my family's been through, it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you left New Zealand around 16 years old, right? How was that like, man?
I didn't want to leave, to be honest. I can remember it quite well. I had an early morning flight to Manchester, and like just before you go through security, I was like, nah, I can't do this. Like bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just I wasn't sure what I was going into, to be honest. You know, I love football, but I knew no one in the UK.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
My dad went with me for the first probably couple of months, and then I was on my own. And I was just the unknown, not knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Always been with my dad. So yeah, I wasn't too sure what I was getting into. So as much as I was excited, I was also a bit scared.
Yeah, for sure. And when you had your dad there, like was he going through your trainings and stuff like that, and seeing you play and all of that while you have him there?
Overseas?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, when you sign from New Zealand at a young age, you have to go through like an international clearance.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think I spent like the first 3 or 4 months just training. So he wasn't there to watch the games at the beginning.
Was that hard for you?
Yeah, it was tough. I can remember like when I got to at Burnley, you go into like a homestay or digs, they call it, because I was on a scholarship. And my dad was staying down the hotel, down the road for 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, nah, I'm staying with my dad until he leaves, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just spent as much time with him as possible. Just try to, you know, be comfortable. And then I went into homestay after he left.
Walk me through the opportunity. How did that opportunity even come about?
Yeah, it was quite a funny one. I was obviously playing in Christchurch with a football academy called Asia Pacific Football Academy.
Yeah.
I was associated with Everton Football Club. Sort of had a pathway going on there. Francis was also down there.
Oh, right.
With me. So that was awesome. One of probably the best times of my life playing football. It was so good every day, training, going to school, finishing at 2, then going and kick a ball around with your mates. It was intense. But that gave me the opportunity I think we went on a tour to England and America for a month. Yeah. We played some games in America and in England. We had some scouts there, did really well, and got the opportunity to go and try out at Tottenham. So I think I was around about 15.
Oh, wow.
This was before the Under-17s World Cup.
Yeah.
Did really well at Tottenham, got offered, they said they were going to offer a 2-year scholarship. Went back home, was working hard before the Under-17 World Cup in Mexico. But the problem was I didn't sign anything when I was there in England at Tottenham. And then I think a couple of months later, they said they'd found someone else that they'd rather put on a scholarship.
Oh, right. Oh, no.
So, yeah, that was a little hurdle early in my career. But then I ended up going on trial about 6 months later, which was after the 17s World Cup. And went to Chelsea and then Burnley. Chelsea was levels, you know, so much talent. Yeah. But it was a good eye-opener. And then I went on to Burnley and did very well. I think after 2 or 3 days, they offered me something.
That's crazy. I can only imagine what those trials will be like. Because I've did some trials in Colombia and stuff, and you do see the level, isn't it? Like right away, you're like, oh my goodness, this is not what I thought it was. Walk us through that. Like, how was that? Like, going into these trials, what specifically like do you had to do? Were you just like when I did a trial in Colombia, it was just literally you were training, and then suddenly it's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and then boom, you jumped in. Yeah. And you get to play like you don't get to play a lot, by the way. A lot of people think you get to play a full game. You played like 10 minutes sometimes. Yeah. That's it. That's all you have. It's crazy, man.
Oh, it's madness.
And the pressure must be tremendous.
Yeah, I just remember going to Chelsea and just even the facilities. I was like, I've never seen things like this. You know,
Yeah.
10, 20 pitches. Even the youth team have got 6, 7 physios and getting massages before training, and it was such an eye opener. And I remember I went there on trial, and the youth team were actually, I think, on like a Champions League tour or going through a Champions League. So I had to train with the reserves as like a 15-year-old. So I had people like, I'm not sure if you know, like Fabio Barini, Chalobah, like training against these guys when I'm 15, and I just felt so out of place, you know.
Wow.
When I look back at it, it's quite funny, but I think that put me in good stead to then go to Burnley and do very well.
Right, bro. One thing that always sort of amazes me about, we'll talk about that later, but one thing that amazes me about you, the way you play, at least how I perceive it, is how calm you are. You're very calm, especially in the position that you play. You have to be very calm. Were you like that when you were really young as well? You always really calm in terms of under pressure?
I wouldn't say.
Or was something that you've developed throughout the years?
I actually started off as a striker.
Oh, is that young. Right?
Yeah, so I was probably
when you did these trials, were you testing as a striker or not?
As a 10 there, but as growing up, I was mostly a striker.
Oh, I see.
And I was quite fast when I was young, and then it sort of like caught up with me with age and stuff, and I started getting a bit slower, or everyone was catching up, and then sort of moved down the pecking order, down into midfield. But I wouldn't say always been calm. It's probably over time that's come.
Oh, right.
And definitely at Auckland City, that developed a lot more.
Yeah, right.
For the playing style that they had. But yeah, that's probably one thing that I would say defines me as a player. That's pretty calm and collected. Even under pressure with the ball, I feel comfortable on the ball. So yeah, it's probably come with time and experience. But
right. At that time as well, you went to the World Cup with the under-17s.
Yeah.
How was that like? Get to wear the all white jersey.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I swear, around that from 15 to 17, everything just happened. You know, it went so quick that I didn't really sit down and take it all in what was happening, because I obviously had trials, then went 17s World Cup, then went to Olympics, and then obviously it's 16, 17, played for the All Whites. Like everything in that little bubble happened so quickly. But that 17s in Mexico was really good. I didn't have such a good World Cup, to be honest. But yeah, that was probably the first time I was on the big stage. It was still an amazing experience. We got out of the group, which was really amazing. It was a good time.
The real reason why people quit the gym isn't because they don't have enough money. The biggest reason is their lack of motivation, which is directly correlated with the lack of results. Now that is a big issue, because underneath the surface there is progress happening, but the problem is tracking is a pain, and PATO is here to solve that. PATO is a leading AI-first gym operating system, not just for members, but for gyms as well. We didn't build this to pretend to be a fitness coach, but rather to simply remove the friction. PATO handles the tracking, the measuring, everything automatically. We also added gamification, rewards, and by rewards we mean real tangible rewards, to make fitness and tracking actually fun. But it's not only for gym members, it's not simply an isolated members app. We actually built an entire powerhouse of an operating system for gyms. We're talking gym access, payments, we're talking classes, everything you might need to operate your gym. PATO's got it, and it's all powered by AI. What does that actually mean? Well, it means you can actually manage all of your gym operations by talking to an agent inside of your ecosystem in natural language. It basically simplifies and amplifies your gym's operation so you can spend time on things that really matter. I'm personally involved with the creation of this product, so I would love for you to try it. Head over to pato.nz/muse for a no strings attached free trial and a very special discount offer for your gym or your fitness service. I'll see you there.
What was one thing that, for example, when you went out there and tested yourselves with the against international teams? Because sometimes you play in your local league or even your own country, and you have a very set style of play, right? You go international and you suddenly see all different styles, all different types of players. What was that like for you? Like in terms of what was one of those things that surprised you at that point?
Probably the physicality.
Physicality.
I was quite small until I got to about 18, when I started to grow a wee bit. But around that age, I was still quite small and skinny, as you could say. Yeah. And yeah, probably the physicality. I remember playing Czech Republic, and they had big boys, and at that age, skills are wonderful and being able to maneuver the ball, but they were just getting into like second phase balls before me and reacting a lot quicker off the mark. So yeah, probably those moments was a bit of an eye opener. After the World Cup, where I went overseas and obviously worked on myself quite a bit, I started getting a lot better.
I want to talk to you about, we talked about football, of course, but one thing I also like to talk about, especially at the beginning of the podcast, is actually who's come without the ball. Like, what do you like to do? What do you do for pleasure outside of playing football?
Yeah, well, I've obviously got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And a wife at home, and my dad lives close to me now, which is
nice.
He's always stayed nearby. So
Family something
man.
You enjoy.
So all my time goes to family, to be honest. Right. We spend a lot of time together as boys, like our team spend a lot of time together. So I don't need to see them, outside of football too much. Yeah. I do on occasions, but a lot of my time goes to my family, whether it's going to the beach, going for a walk, getting out in the sun, going to the pools. That's me in a nutshell, to be honest.
Right.
And that's probably the way that my dad was with me. He gave me all the opportunities, and now it's sort of led to me, and I just want to give that to my kids now.
Right. You seem to be very close to your dad, yeah?
Yeah, very close. He shaped me to be the person I am today. So, had such a good bond with him from a young age.
Right. And what are those things that you enjoy doing with the years? You mentioned about the beach and stuff like that, but are there any particular, talk about music and stuff like that you enjoy? Like what you like doing with the family?
Just like going out testing new cafes and just picking up a coffee from different places and just going over it with my wife. Like, it's good coffee, bad coffee. Everyone's different. But yeah, just those things. I used to like to play PlayStation and games quite a bit.
But what do you play?
It was mostly FIFA.
Are you like real good at it? Or were you really good at it?
I would rate myself. I have played a few of the boys in the team. Who's the
better player?
I'm going to say myself.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I am going to say. I have heard that Lockie Brook is very good.
Okay.
And he does spend a bit of time on it. I don't spend so much time on the game now. So, probably.
You are in the game now as well.
I haven't played as myself. I'm not going to lie.
Have you seen your card?
I don't know if I want to see my card. Have you got
I haven't.
Here we go.
But without looking at this, what do you think is your highest skill? Like the highest scoring skill here?
Should be passing, no?
That's what I thought. Thank you. I thought passing was going to be the one, right? Well, it turns out the highest is actually jumping, stamina.
Jumping.
And acceleration.
No. They got it all wrong.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. If it was me, like, look, interceptions, defending here, and then you got finishing, and where are they? Short passing. Short passing 63.
Yeah, I think
these ones here should have been higher. I mean, considering the overall score, right? Yeah. But I saw this because I wanted to bring it out because usually football players bring out FIFA, and I was like, let me see.
I haven't actually. I think we did something with the media team where we seen my card. I wasn't too happy with it, but I haven't actually played as myself. Like I said, I don't really get the time to anymore.
Yeah, right. And actually, the reason why I ask, because it might seem pretty weird for some people that I'm sort of asking you about, what you do in your free time and all of that kind of stuff. Reason why I ask this a lot is because I've talked to a lot of football players, and like my brother-in-law is a football player, and I know how little time they have. Like it's just so little time they have, and for them, for example, family is always one of those things. But there's always like this one thing that they do, like either playing FIFA, playing table tennis and stuff like that, where they sort of...
To be fair, I do that stuff, but it's more when we travel. Like we travel to Australia quite often. So probably that side of stuff probably comes out when I'm away, not so much when I'm at home.
Right.
So like I do play game, like I play with the boys a lot of cards. There's about 6 or 7 of us that got Nintendo Switches. We play Mario Kart the whole flight, like to Aussie, there and back. And we have competitions. If you lose, you got to pay. You got to buy some the winners something. So we have a little competition, which is
who's the biggest loser? Can you tell?
Michael Veld.
Oh, okay.
Very bad at Mario Kart. Very bad, and he also doesn't pay up.
Oh no, that's even worse. That's even worse, bro. You can be mad at Mario Kart, but you gotta pay up. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. And yeah, I mean, New Zealand is a beautiful country to live that type of lifestyle, right, with family and all of that. Cool, man. That's awesome, bro. You've been doing this from very, very young age. Nowadays, and correct me if I'm wrong, but have brothers as well. They also want to be professional football players and stuff. One thing that I noticed is that kids today are like real training like athletes, right? And the levels like you see some. I mean, you look at the Champions League, right? You see that kid Carl from Bayern Munich, and you're like, what is this 17-year-old kid? Like so small, super technical, really good, and the level's just been crazy good, right? You've been doing this for a long time. What do you think are some of the core things that have changed in today's game to sort of get to these levels of football?
Yeah, obviously probably the coaching. Coaching. Look, he's at Bayern Munich, right? He's probably getting the best coaching possible. Like I said before, the facilities, they've got everything. But yeah, the game's probably a bit more tactical now. But you can see from him as a player, his individual quality, the ball at his feet. Yeah. Sort of like Messi, you know. I'm not going to say he's like Messi, but you can see, So that comes with practice. That's probably a bit of him as well, probably having the ball at his feet constantly. And I think just at a young age, always having a ball at your feet is just massive. But also you got to have the coaching, the right coaching. And we haven't always had that here in New Zealand. Like I said, I went to an academy in Christchurch, and I was very raw before I went there. Like I had a bit, but the intelligence, of the game, I definitely did not have. And those sort of academies, that build you as a player, and it makes you learn a lot more. It makes you think faster. So, yeah, I think the game has changed a wee bit, but then again, it's changing. It's always changing, You look at what Pep was doing for so long with his team, inverted fullbacks and everyone, and then everyone started doing it, and then everyone jumps onto that idea and they start to nullify that. So I'm sure there'll be someone else that brings out a new idea. But as a player, there's so much talent out there, like in New Zealand as well. Like I did a bit of coaching myself, and there's so much talent out there. They just need to be led in the right direction.
Yeah, 100%. I also think, don't you think that also the availability of just content, football content, like kids are watching videos all day of amazing players, and so all of these things I think enrich their game a little bit, right? Actually, you mentioned something there, and I was going to ask you a question. Oh yeah, that's right. Because you mentioned about the resources in New Zealand, and that's one of the reasons why actually, when I found out about your story of going to play in Burnley at such a young age, it made it even more impressive because you're from New Zealand. Like the infrastructure is not here. Obviously, New Zealand is not a footballing nation yet. Like there's the coaching, a bunch of different resources. So it's actually a lot harder for a Kiwi to move through from New Zealand. So what do you think has changed in the last several years in New Zealand, particularly that? Because I feel like it has elevated massively, for sure. Yeah, massively.
Like I said, the academies, back then when I was 16, 17, there wasn't many going around. They obviously had the Knicks in the academy I was at, and Ole. Ole's still going. You look at how many players they've developed. Ole, APFA where I was at, we had me, Francis, Bill Tuiloma, Joe Bell, and there'll be quite a few others. But now you've got Wellington Phoenix, you've got Auckland FC. There's just a lot more, academies.
Okay.
And like you said, a lot more footage. It's easier for kids to get online and look at players.
Yeah.
But there's so much talent. Like I said, there's so much talent out there. When I started playing for the All Whites, not everyone was professional. But now you look at the squad, there's probably 50, 60 professionals out there now. So it's getting better and better. And I can see that rising still. But like I said, the coaching and the training that they're getting, there's probably more opportunities for Kiwis, boys and girls coming up to showcase themselves to get maybe a trial overseas. Oh,
that's right. You mentioned about Auckland City as well, which is basically where you had your longest career as well. It's quite a banger of a goal there. Puka's Award nominated goal, didn't you?
No.
You did.
Did I?
You did score this crazy goal.
Oh, the one from inside my own half.
Yeah,
Did it
yeah,
get
yeah.
nominated? Really?
I think it got nominated. At least that's what I found out.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Because it's even like that in the YouTube clip. Because
Yeah.
when I put your name down, I was like look a bunch of videos and stuff. That's one of the first videos that come up, and I was like, oh god damn, what a crazy goal that was. But I was going to talk to you about Auckland City. Like, actually, let's go a little bit before that. So you go to Burnley. You play in England. You play in Scotland as well. Walk us a little bit through that journey. Like, what were those things? And actually, one thing that I didn't ask you before, which I wanted to get to, was your sort of dreams and goals at like that young age? What was sort of the North Star for you? Like, what was the thing that sort of kept you going at that young age? What do you wanted to achieve?
Yeah. Like, I'm a massive Liverpool supporter.
Okay.
I'd be lying if I said I always wanted to play for Liverpool. That hasn't happened. It probably won't, it definitely won't happen. But also, I just loved football. Like, it was in my DNA, you know. Like I said, playing from such a young age. I used to play at morning tea, lunchtime at school. So I just wanted to be a footballer. And like I said, the love for the game was there. When I went over there, to Burnley, it was quite crazy because everything happened at once. The Under-17s World Cup, then onto the Olympics, the All Whites, and then I made my debut for Burnley at 17. So everything like came at me at once, you know, and I was on this whirlwind. Like, I sort of thought I made it, and that's probably, if I could go back and change, I would, because you never really make it. You know, you never want to have that mentality of you made it.
Right, I see.
And I feel like I probably took the foot off the pedal a wee bit. You know, my first couple of years at Burnley, I did really well under Eddie Howe. That's now at Newcastle. And everything was working really well. I was getting opportunities, sitting on the bench, came on a few times, and I seen a pathway there. But in football, coaches change a lot.
Oh, my goodness,
Your career changes a lot. Brought in a new manager, Sean Dyche, and played like a completely different style of play. Where it was quite a lot long ball, second phase balls, which is understandable because, you know, Burnley compared to other teams in the Premier League didn't have the resources or the money compared to other teams, so they had to play that certain way. And it just didn't suit me. So I probably sat there for 3 years just training with the first team, but playing games for the reserves. And that probably, I think, when that you have everything happening at once at a young age, and then it sort of gets a bit flat, it makes it very difficult. And I probably went quite downhill. I started going out quite a bit with the boys.
Oh, okay.
Sort of living that footballer's lifestyle that you don't really want to get into. I mean, the partying, the drinking. Because I didn't start drinking until, you know, later, but I started getting into that environment where I was going out. Like, wasn't playing on the weekend, was playing reserves during the week. So I was like, oh, I can go out on the weekend. And then things started to spiral, and then I left.
Like a coping mechanism, you think?
Yeah. And then obviously left Burnley and went to Scotland for a year, even though my dad and granddad are from there. I just had the worst time. Like, the weather, it got dark at like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true.
Light at 10 a.m. Like, it was just such a bad time for me.
Right.
I was playing as a winger. Like, you should be happy that you're playing. I wasn't. It was like a lot of long ball, which I just came back from for the last 3 years, and it was very challenging. Didn't do too well there also. I stopped playing for 6 months, stopped playing football for 6 months in the UK after I left Scotland. I wasn't too sure if I was going to keep playing, to be honest.
Oh, really? Was it that bad? Was it like really demotivating for you?
Yeah, a wee bit, because like I said, I had that such big high, you know, from 15 to like 19.
Right.
And then everything, I started realizing maybe I'm not so good, you know. And then
started downing yourself.
Yeah, a wee bit. And then, left Scotland. And I just was like, what am I going to do now? Like, do I want to go on trial again? Because it's not pretty going out on trial, you know. Like, it can be very challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, like you said before, there's so many talented players out there that are looking for an opportunity, and at that point in time, I just couldn't be bothered.
You lost your hunger pretty much.
Yeah, I lost my hunger a wee bit. So it was quite challenging. And I actually started doing a PT course. So I thought, might as well do some PTing or something.
Right.
I wanted always to do something active, you know, keep me active. But, and then that obviously led me coming back to New Zealand.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I did not expect that, man.
Yeah.
And then you come back here, and then you end up on Auckland City playing. You played there for a long time. How did that come about?
I actually came back. So during that time there, I wasn't too sure if I was going to stick around with football. I went to Team Wellington. I actually came back and played for Team Wellington.
That's right. You did play a couple of games with Team Wellington.
Not that many.
Nine.
I think less than,
Nine games, one goal,
Yeah.
1 goal, 4 assists.
Yeah, I got the opportunity. I knew Paul Temple that was living in Wellington. He knew the head coach at Team Wellington, Jose, and it came through Twitter. It was like, look, do you want to come back and play National League in New Zealand? And I was like, do I want to? Like, umming and ahhing. And then obviously I had my partner at the time that was from Manchester, England, and I was like, let's try it out. Let's go to New Zealand for 12 months. She came on a holiday visa or something. Came over, went to Team Wellington, and then we played Auckland City, I think, first or second game of the season. They smashed us like 4 or 5-0. I was like, I had one of my best mates, Te Arawhai Hudson, that was playing for Auckland City as well. I was playing against, I was like, these guys are not bad, you know. Like, I didn't expect the levels to be so high at Auckland City. And after that game, I was quite surprised. And obviously coming off losing 4-5-0. And then as I was walking off the pitch, Ivan Vislic was the assistant coach of Auckland City, which he is still now.
Yeah.
And I actually played with the All Whites with him when I was 16, 17.
Right, okay.
So that sort of got me. He was like, why'd you go to Wellington? He's like, you could have come to Auckland City. But I don't think people thought that I sort of stepped away from football. So maybe they like clubs back in New Zealand didn't really want to get in contact with me.
Oh, I see.
So that was probably the pathway that got me there. And as soon as I knew they were interested, the transfer window opened around December, and then came to Auckland City.
All right. And when you get an offer, so Auckland City, semi-professional club, like those types of offers, like what do they offer you? Like
Coaching?
Yeah. Right.
So
right.
playing and coaching.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. You enjoyed it though?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it so much. Like,
you guys had great achievements as well, played World Cups as well, Club World Cups.
Yeah.
How was that like?
I didn't really know much about the club, to be honest. I didn't know they went to these like prestige tournaments. But yeah, just some of the journeys and tournaments that I've been involved with have been amazing. And to play on the world stage against such big players has been a privilege. And that gave me the real hunger of playing again also.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, did that wake up something in you?
Yeah, that coming to Auckland City, just got that fire in the belly again. Made some really good mates that I'm still mates with now, and was just playing for the badge really, and for my mates, and just loved every minute of it. And like you said, went all to these tournaments, got to travel to the islands, and just see Oceania a wee bit more. So it was. I think I was there about 7 years, but loved every minute of it.
And when because I asked this to Emmy as well, like, did at one point you also sort of dream of going playing for Liverpool? Did that reignite at any point?
No, I think I'm a bit of a realist also.
Okay.
Obviously been to the UK and seen the levels.
Yeah.
Like I came back and did well in New Zealand, but
how old were you at this time?
I think I was 21.
Oh, pretty young though.
Yeah, still young. But I think when you experienced it and you know the levels,
right?
I know you improve, you can improve, but I kind of knew I wasn't going to get to that level, Right. You have to be special, very special.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, definitely you do. Playing so many years with Auckland City, and you were one of the first 4 players to be presented in Auckland FC, brand new club. I remember when I heard about it, I was like, oh, this is cool, but honestly speaking, I thought, man, this is going to be like an uphill battle from here. Like, first of all, I thought, what a crazy idea. Like, these guys putting money into football. Like, so hard. Like, you have to put so much money into football. But, man, what they did with Auckland FC is just phenomenal. Like, I did not expect that. I actually made a video about it that did quite well, where I was breaking it down. I'm like, I did not see how a club could do this. Like, it's unprecedented in history from scratch to do what they did. And you were one of the first 4 players. How did that call come through?
Yeah, it came through our manager, Terry.
Right.
And then obviously it been in the news that there was going to be a new football club. So, you know, I thought about it like if I got the opportunity, it would be a no-brainer. And I remember just getting that phone call and it was like I'd been waiting for this opportunity for a football club to come, like professional football club to come to Auckland. Because I actually, I could and I had offers before, but I wasn't able to actually move away from Auckland. Like I have a daughter. My first daughter that's now 6, she had a lot of medical issues and didn't allow me. Well, it could allow me if I wanted to go play overseas, but had so many complications that I had to stay here in New Zealand.
Right.
So that's probably why I had such a long, time at Auckland City.
Oh, right. I see.
So I was actually waiting for an opportunity, for a professional or an A-League club to come to Auckland.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it took 7 years.
Wow.
But yeah, once I got that call, and it was a no-brainer, and to be announced as the first 4 players was special. Last season was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
A new football club, the unknown,
what were you sort of like off the cuff thoughts when you saw it? You get the call, you go, okay, cool, I'm going to play with this brand new club, brand new everything.
Yeah.
What was going through your head?
No, it was more excitement.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was. I was very excited to get back into the pro game, and from training night times for 7 years to then going to morning trainings, I was really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Spending more time with my family in the evenings, but no, I was so excited. Like you said, we weren't too sure how we were going to go.
Yeah.
And also when you go to a new club as well, everyone starts fresh.
Yeah.
But I actually knew probably 75% of the squad and staff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because a lot of Kiwis.
Yeah.
So
You knew a few of the boys as well?
yeah, a lot of the boys. So it wasn't hard to settle in.
Yeah.
And Kiwis are easygoing,
Yeah.
And we've brought that culture in, made everyone feel welcome that has come in since that. The foreigners, overseas players, the Australian players. And there's been that really cool connection within the club and the fans you can see as well on match day and how much they get around it. But yeah, it was a bit unknown because in pre-season in our first year we didn't do so well. So it took a wee while for us to get ticking, but then the start of last season was crazy. It was
nuts, bro.
6 wins, no goals conceded. And then you just keep getting that sort of belief to keep going, that momentum. And it sort of went that way that season. Like you're always going to have little spells in the seasons where you don't do so well, but then we picked up again and went on a little run again. And before you know it, we were Premier Plate winners. It was crazy.
Crazy, dude, crazy. Who were some of those players that sort of surprised you as you came into this club? Like people that you thought, oh man, this guy's like really, really good.
There's been a few. Also, like I said, I played with Francis at a young age at the football academy in Christchurch.
Francis was such a revelation last season, isn't he? Far out.
Mate, like I live with Francis at a homestay in Christchurch as well, so I know him quite well. But yeah, Francis was a good player, young, but he is, come on,
he's
so
crazy.
much.
The last game that you guys played, that cut inside and that pass with the outside of his foot, I'm like, who's this dude?
I was like that when I came back, back to playing with him. I was like, where's this come out of? But
incredible.
he's just grown with confidence, and he's put a lot of work in to get where he is at now, and such a lovely guy. But yeah, he's probably surprised me the most. Also, Jake Brimmer.
He's really good as well.
I heard a little bit about him before I came to the club, but what a football player, and just his technical aspects. Like I like the way, like in training when we train together, if we're in the same team, it's such a joy to play with someone like that. Just landing the ball, 1-2s and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a top player. I think he got player of the season, I think, when he was at Victory as well.
Right.
A few years back, but he's top talent.
Also, one of the things that I was super excited about, because I'm South American, right? And he was always sort of a disappointment, really, when I went to stadiums here to watch rugby, and the atmosphere wasn't what I was used to, right? I remember turning up to the stadium, not expecting absolutely anything, and then suddenly I see actual football atmosphere in the stadium.
Yeah.
Were you like also surprised about how crazy that was?
Yeah, massively. Like you said, have you been to a few All Blacks games, have you?
Yeah, I have been to several All Blacks games,
Yeah.
you know, like several rugby games, right? And I come from Colombia where a regular game,
Yeah.
you go and it's like, you know, it's absolutely madness, right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, you know, when I went to a football game here in New Zealand as I came, I thought, well, they don't really celebrate football that much. Let's go to a rugby game. But then I went to a rugby game like All Blacks Australia, and I'm like, there's not much energy here.
Yeah.
And then I went to that game and I was like, oh man, football is different. It's just football is different.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like, yeah, you're spot on. You're like, I think this club is showing how, or the supporters have shown what it's like to support a team, you know? The way they come out in numbers, the way they walk down
just a party,
the
man.
stairs with, like, as the port. And it's like a 12th man.
100%.
It does help, you know, when us boys are going towards the port in the second half, it gives us a real massive lift. And last season we scored so many goals late. And that was down to them, you know, the
100%.
atmosphere and getting behind us. It's been incredible. And like you said, it's like that in Europe. Like it's every football club madness, like the fans, and it brings the atmosphere and it also lifts the players. And it's no better feeling than playing in a packed out stadium.
Yeah, 100%. And also feeling like your home ground, you know what I mean? Like that.
Like it's a fortress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I remember, you know, small things like, you know, you could see the goal. They still singing, you know, it's not like they went quiet. They're still singing and all of this kind of stuff. And I remember being very excited. I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe football is actually like alive in New Zealand.
I think also that's probably brought other people that didn't really watch football as
100%, yeah.
And maybe people that were more into rugby or, I don't know, basketball. But, you know, you come to an Auckland FC game, you get amongst it, and it feels like a family. You know?
And one of the craziest things that I love is that so many kids, like lots of families, and what they did as well with Auckland FC. Shout out to every single executive that works there because they've did it really well.
Amazing.
In terms of the marketing that they did, pitched it to families to come have a good time. It's not just about the football game. It's like about the entire experience as a whole.
Of course.
So yeah, man, I was super excited for that, and also more pleasantly surprised, I have to say, when I went to watch the first game. Because the first game I didn't go because I was in Europe, but when I came back, I heard a lot about it. It was like people were like, oh, you should go to the game, blah blah blah. So I went there and I was really pleasantly surprised to see the team how they played.
Yeah.
Like the quality of the football really surprised me because I've seen games before, like the Phoenix when they used to come here to play one-off game in Auckland Impact. Yeah, that's right. And I was really surprised. I was like, oh man, this team is actually playing really good football. Like I was really surprised. I was like, wow, okay. And like you said, the foreigners clicked really well, and the way they were playing, Francis blew my mind. I'm like, this is the left back? I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And so congratulations, man, for that campaign. This campaign, a lot of players left. Some came back. Who are some of those ones that came back that you went, wow, this kid is really, really good?
Like they're all good players. I could name a lot of players, but probably the one that's shining at the moment that probably didn't have so much game time last season or started so much last season is Jesse.
Jesse, yeah.
He's flying at the moment.
Yeah, he's killing it.
But if you see him in training, he's reaped his rewards. Like he works so hard. The guy's rapid. He can go left. He can go right.
Yeah.
He can shoot very well.
Yeah.
And in this team, you've got to work very hard. So yeah, he's probably one that's, you know, on the rise at the moment. And it's so good to see, you know, another Kiwi doing so well for this football club. And, you know, he's got his rewards from being called up to the latest squad for the All Whites. So, yeah, there's so many. Our squad is filled with so much talent, even the experienced ones, the foreigners ones, like Louis Fistrat. It's just like an animal, a monster in midfield, cleans up everything. But, yeah, everyone came back in good nick, to be fair. Everyone worked hard in the off-season and came back in good shape this season.
Yeah. No, they definitely, some of these new players really shined for me as well. And a different style of play I see as well. Like there's a slight change in the way that you guys are playing as well.
Yeah, we're probably playing a little bit more. We've obviously brought in Lockie Brook. He's probably one the fans probably like watching him.
He's so fast.
Yeah, fast, jinky, confident with the ball, finds good pockets of space, scored a crazy free kick.
Yeah, that's right. Three games ago.
Yeah, 3 games ago. But yeah, when you bring in those types of players, I guess maybe the football doesn't change too much, but the quality, in the player changes a wee bit. But yeah, like we like to play, but we also know the other side of the game where you've got to work very hard to get your rewards, and that's what we do on the training field. Like we work so hard during the week, and that probably shows on the weekend. Like I'd be surprised if any team outrun us on the weekend, and that's down to the staff putting the work in, making us do the extra work, which can be frustrating as a player at times of how much top-up running you've got to do or so much extras, but then you see the benefits and the rewards come with the weekend.
I saw the documentary. I went to the premiere of the documentary as well.
Nice.
It was pretty cool. And some of the coaches and stuff you see, like they're hard cases.
Intense.
Yeah, but they're the ones that by the time the weekend gets, you like, okay, I got my. I did my work, so now I don't have to suffer as much. But when you don't do the work through the week, it's like, man, you gotta pay for it.
You still get drilled for it on the weekend. But no, like I said, the standards are so high at the club. Like the amount of work that we put in, they have high demands on us, and then that shows out on the pitch. Look, we want to win every game, right?
Yeah.
So do the coaching staff, so do the fans. So the work behind the scenes that not everyone sees, we're definitely doing it as a football club.
Nice. I was going to ask you played with Auckland City as well for a long time. How do you think that, because now they're going to do the OFC, is that what it's called?
They're not doing the Pro League.
They're not doing
Auckland City? Auckland FC are.
No, Auckland FC.
Oh,
I'm talking
sorry.
Auckland FC. But what I was going to get to is that you've seen the sort of local league level and also the A-League level. How do you think New Zealand stacks up against like let's say that Auckland City as a club would go and play against a A-League club? What are the levels sort of like, do you think?
Probably...
Like, is that a big jump? That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think so.
Really?
Not that big, but then like you got to look at it as the boys that play for Auckland City, they have jobs, right? All their time doesn't it's a balance.
Yeah.
A lot of their time goes into work. Then they train at night time, 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. Then they play on the weekend. So it's hard to tell, because if you put all your eggs in one basket, it was just if you put that professional football club in the A-League, I think it would raise a few eyebrows. But there's a lot of talent. Well, through the years I've played at Auckland City, like there's been so much talent. I think Emmy would tell you, like I think when I first came into the club, like the team was top, like very, very good, doing very good when we went to Club World Cups. But probably that physicality, like I said, and the demands of the running, like it took me quite a while to get used to it.
Oh, really?
The running off the ball.
Yeah.
That's probably the one thing that I'd say probably Auckland City would struggle. But the footballing, the way that they play, like it's in the DNA of Auckland City to, move the ball, play with confidence. So, yeah, you wouldn't really know until, if they were involved. But I know they've had games against A-League oppositions where they've done very well. So
yeah. I said that because of what you just said about they have actually done relatively well when they've played internationally, and then with the caveat that these guys actually don't spend 100% of their time like playing football, which is quite impressive.
Yeah,
if you think about it. So that's why now that they're gonna do this, Auckland FC is gonna do this sort of pro league here. I'm kind of interested to see how the entire league sort of stacks up against the Australian league as it grows, right?
Yeah.
Like that particular one. Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised with Auckland. They played, obviously, a lot of people, don't really understand when they play against like Bayern Munich and they play against Benfica and stuff like that. Man, these guys are working full-time jobs. And it's quite impressive, the dedication.
Yeah.
I was talking to Emmy about that because, he did it as well for a long ass time. But anyway, all this to say that I'm really glad that New Zealand as a whole, I think, is elevating its football culture, which of course will bring more opportunities for young players and stuff like that. I was going to ask you about the All Whites. How do you see the squad heading into the World Cup?
There's so many good players.
Yeah.
And, it's such a strong squad. I've obviously seen the draw and they could go on and do very well. They've got so much talent, a lot of experience in the squad, and a lot of boys coming up. I think the style of play is changing as well. Like, I think they're playing a lot more. They've got those technical players that can look pretty on the eye. So I think it's going to be quite exciting time for New Zealand fans to see this Kiwi team go and play at a World Cup, and I think they'll do quite well.
Would you like to see like the All Whites do what sort of Australia did in terms of going and playing in Asia probably to get a little bit more exposure and playing against different types of teams? Yeah. That's one thing I thought is probably good for New Zealand, because my view is the following. I think New Zealand has great athletes for the size of the country, right?
Yeah.
And football is one of those things that I'm like thinking if New Zealand spend a little bit more time and infrastructure, they can actually get decent. Like they can get internationally speaking. Because Australia, you could see the exponential growth that they had when they started playing in Asia.
Yeah, I think, look, it gives you better games.
Yeah.
For one, and makes you improve. But then you look at the pathway now that the All Whites have. It's like,
yeah, that's true.
You've got not an easy pathway, but a lot better pathway to make a World Cup than going through Asia. Like
That is true.
But like, I get what you're saying with the games to improve.
But,
they are getting good. Like recently, they've been getting good games.
Well, they play against Colombia and they play against Ecuador.
Yeah,
and I was surprised in Colombia when they play against Colombia, and they stack up really well, man.
Yeah,
if they play more of those games,
they're going to improve.
They're going to improve a lot.
Yeah, I can't see it happening personally. But it would make the nation stronger by playing, Japan on more occasions, Australia, Saudi. Yeah, it's. I think
playing them will be definitely something that. I see the World Cup, but nowadays, man, the World Cup has a lot of teams as well.
Yeah,
I reckon New Zealand probably could. I don't know. That's just I really wanted like New Zealand to step up in terms of the level in the World Cup and not just go and do. Okay-ish, but actually go and compete and start raising that. Because Australia has done it really well in the World Cups, last couple of World Cups.
Last couple of World Cups have been phenomenal. They were unlucky.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Game.
Bro, I was going to ask you a really funny question. And this is, well, it's not a funny question really, but we looked at your card. And if you were to do like the ideal Auckland FC player, I'm going to name you like qualities and you tell me who that person you will pick if you were going to build the perfect Auckland FC player. So
any player in the world?
No, Auckland
or
FC.
Just only Auckland FC players?
Yeah, from Auckland FC. Okay. From Auckland FC. We'll do it from Auckland FC and then we'll do international.
Okay.
But let's say that, for example, perfect Auckland FC player.
Yeah.
Speed.
Jesse Randall.
Yeah. Stamina.
Louis Verstrat.
Shooting.
Jonty. Bidwa. Young boy.
Physicality.
Sam Cosgrove. Easy. Bullies everyone.
Oh my goodness. He wins every header. He reminds me a little bit of Chris Wood. Just throw that ball out there. He's going to get it. Doesn't matter.
Win every flip.
Vision.
I'll say myself.
Yes. Yeah. I like it. Passing.
Jake Brimmer.
And dribbling.
Lockie Brook.
Yep. If it was for me, speed, I say Logan Rogerson. Stamina, I would say Gallegos. Shooting, Guillermo Mai. Physicality, you said Crossgrove. Vision, I'll put you. And then passing, I'll definitely say Jake Bremer. And dribbling, Lucky Brook.
Oh, sorry, I've got it all wrong there. Passing, Francis.
Crossing
is passing.
That's true. That is very true.
Then he puts crosses on a dime.
Yes, that's very true. You made me reconsider mine too.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Francis could be a lot of them, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. Even physicality.
It could be a lot of them.
Yeah, that's true. And now we're internationally. Because you watch a lot of international football as well.
Yeah, I love watching football.
Speed.
Mbappe.
Yep. Stamina.
Caicedo.
Shooting. Haaland. Physicality.
Van Dijk.
Yep. Okay. Vision.
Iniesta.
Iniesta. Okay. And passing?
Xavi.
Dribbling?
Messi.
Messi? Yep. There you have it. There you have it. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
It's too easy, man.
Messi. 100%.
This is more of a one of those things that with the career that you had. What are some of those sacrifices that you made for your career, for your life that people might not even see?
The ones close to me know, but obviously, I've probably sacrificed going back overseas from when I was at Auckland City to go back and play professionally. I had a good time at Auckland City. Throughout those years, I had a handful of offers to go, professional contracts to go overseas. But for family reasons, like I said before, my daughter, I don't like saying hasn't allowed me because it has been my choice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it's been my choice. Like my partner's also said at times where I've had offers like you go, like we'll be fine, but it's never crossed my mind to leave them.
Yeah.
So it's probably one, and probably the biggest one. Like maybe my career would have shaped a bit different, but I'm at peace with it. Like I said before, I'm a family man. Probably would have been a little bit different answer if I was 17, 18.
Yeah.
But my priorities have changed as I've got older, as I've had a family. My family are everything. My daughter, my oldest daughter, she's been through a lot of medical stuff. And yeah, it's probably shaped me as a person as well. Put a lot of things in perspective, and football is a massive part of me, but it's not all ever. It's not everything.
It's not everything. Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably the biggest sacrifice that people don't know about my story, my journey, that I have decided to, push aside offers and contracts overseas. But like I said, I'm at peace with it.
You might look at it and go, man, what would have been? But today you have a beautiful family. Your watch is watching you play football, and that's a blessing on its own as well. So sometimes, those types of decisions are hard at the moment, but like you said, push really life into perspective. Like big moments like having children really puts life into perspective. I just had my first child, and it's one of those things where you really reconsider life at its own, like as a whole. Man, it's nice to hear that. Nice to hear that.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you a couple of questions that I actually put up on social, and I said that I was going to have a player from Auckland FC and people to ask if they wanted to know anything. I had several questions actually came in. So I'm going to ask you some of them because there were several of them. And one of them was, what's currently lacking in New Zealand football to be competitive in the international stage? We should kind of talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, probably just if they can keep up getting those competitive games. And, they've done well when they've played against, higher seeded nations, top 20. But again, those regular games is only going to benefit the country, and hopefully come that World Cup, they put on a show. And
do you think also, you mentioned this at the beginning, but also like the coaching and the academy stuff, like enriching that culture, I think probably as well. Definitely from the grassroots level will probably bring everything up. I think,
like Auckland FC, they do their camps and their holiday camps, and that probably gets a lot of more kids involved, but then probably gives some kids and families opportunities, and it's just growing. And hopefully, it would be amazing if we had 3, 4, 5 professional teams in New Zealand. In the A League, obviously the Pro League is professionally, and they have a team in Christchurch as well. So it gives another opportunity for kids down in the South Island. So that's so awesome to see.
There's another question which is, what's more important, talent or hard work?
Hard work every day of the week.
Why?
Like you got to have some talent, right? Like you can keep working. Like if you've got a bit of talent, you can obviously work on the training ground. You can have people help you, or you can do it in your own time, work on yourself, or speak to a coach. What do I need to work on? But hard work, it beats it all the time. Like it's a given, right? Like it's up to you how hard you want to work. Like no one's going to tell you how hard to work, or you've got to do it at the end of the day. And I think it's when coaches see that, they know they can, depend on you and put you in the trenches when needed. So yeah, hard work.
Yeah, hard work. Actually, this reminded me of a question I had, which was around that. Like, we all have jobs and stuff, and we go out there and we do our jobs. And football players, they go and work their asses off, and they might not even play in the weekends. Like it's mental. Is a lot of things in there, a lot of emotions.
100%.
And how do you deal with that? Like, how do you, make sure that you turn up, do your hard work, put in your miles, and make sure that the coach knows that you're at the level to perform.
It's probably one of the hardest things in football when you're not like, look, it's everyone's happy when they're playing, right? Like everyone wants to play. Like you're not in the right sport if you're not, you're not happy. Like when you're not playing. So it can be very challenging. But it happens to the majority of footballers, unless you're Messi, Ronaldo. There's probably times in your career where you're going to be, in the stands or
100%.
or on the bench and not playing. It's definitely happened to me throughout my career, and it can be very challenging. But one thing I always do is, if I don't play and a little bit frustrated, I speak to my wife and sort of break down things with her, and like you said, put things in perspective and look at the bigger picture. So yeah, it can be very hard. I want to play every game, right? But it's not always the case, and someone's going to have to be left out at the end of the day sometimes.
Yeah,
so you have to look at it that way, and it's quite cool at our club. Like there's such a connection within everyone. It's there's joy when I see other players doing well and the club doing well also.
Yeah, that's true, because that's one of the hardest things, right? Is like you want to play, but also like you're really happy that your teammates are playing and they're doing really well. It's like this conflict there that you feel stink, but at the same time you don't feel any remorse to your teammates.
Of course, not.
Exactly.
You're not the ones picking them, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was one of those things that I always thought as a footballer, and I talk to a lot of footballers. And you see a lot of cases, like for example, we live one really close with James Rodriguez, right? He was at Real Madrid, Ancelotti loved him, whatever. Couple of coach changes completely reshape his career, right? So sometimes it's not even that you're not doing your part or whatever. It's like, well, now for this system you don't fit or whatever, and suddenly you're in the other side. And I always thought, man, like keep motivating yourself to keep going there, work your ass off, so that the coach sees something that can play a part in the team. That must be really like a mentor,
Yeah, look, like some coaches going to love you, some won't. That's just football, the way it is, right? Like it's not always going to be roses and sunshine for you. Like you're going to have that dip. Like I've had many dips in my career, like probably more dips than highs. But you need to ride through those battles, and like you said, coaches changes, or they go across abroad, or they do very well, so they get a move. So just keep working away at it, hard work, and also people around the club see that as well, and you get a lot of respect from players when you do that, working hard, like when no one else is watching, and it can be challenging when those things happen. But what a player also, huh?
Yeah. Bro, I was going to ask you, does it work? Like, do you get feedback from the coach in terms of like, let's say that you're in the bench, and do you actually go and tell the coach like, hey, what do I need to do to make a start 11? Like, does that happen? That back and forward with the coaches?
I think it can happen. I think it definitely does happen at football clubs. Whether it happens here, I'm not too sure. Look, the coach, like I said before, we have such a good squad, and I've got a lot of experience from playing overseas and know what it's like, and it can be hard as for a coach to pick an 11 and decide who you're going to bring on, blah blah blah. But I've not been one to knock on the door and
ask questions.
Yeah, look, I try to do that by working hard in training and showing my ability in training and how much I want to be out there playing. But yeah, I've never been someone to really knock on the door and say I should be playing in front of blah blah blah. It's not me. I'm sure there's players out there that do that. But yeah, I just try and work
Just
even
work hard.
harder,
Just
harder
work
on the
hard.
training field.
Silent, work hard.
Yeah.
That's it. What's the most important skill?
I think being a step ahead, like one step ahead, knowing what's going to happen before
Like
it
reading,
happens. Yeah,
reading the game.
Yeah. So yeah, just being aware what's around you, your surroundings, and trying to find the formula or something to break down a team or a pass or just not trying to get yourself in a pickle. But yeah, just like you said, reading of the game. Yeah.
There are so many amazing players that they're not really known for that, but you see, like Messi's one of them. Like you can always see he's always looking over his shoulder.
Tony Cruz, I always like if you sit and just like
Tony Cruz is another
young
one.
kids should do that. Just what like from the big teams, just watch the player. Like sometimes just watch the player, not the whole team.
Yeah,
and you just some players can control a game by the way they move the ball, their communication,
the movement off the ball as well,
and even giving other players space.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What's a life principle that is the North Star for your life?
Yeah, probably hard work. Hard work, but like early on when we were talking about when I had that stint where I thought I sort of made it, and then stepped my foot off the pedal. It's like when I didn't put the hard work in, then things started not working for me.
Right.
And I've probably seen that, and now I look back at it and wish I worked harder through that period.
Right.
So yeah, probably hard work and in everything, like not just football. When I come home, I want to be the best version of a father for my girls, and when I meet up with friends, I will always, because you're not always 100% happy all the time.
Yeah.
But it's, doesn't really work in towards hard work, but like always trying to have a smile on your face and
a positive attitude.
Yeah, positive attitude and hard work.
Yeah, love it. Technique or physicality? Which one wins more games? Technique?
Yeah. Is it like as a player or
as a team?
As a team.
In terms of like you have teams that. Okay, let me give you an example. There are teams that
look at Barcelona. You're like,
that's true. Prime Barcelona was technique.
Like I would say physicality more.
But did you see like the last couple of Bayern teams, right? Like physicality was a big thing. Like every single one of those guys were like physical, right? And you see the what that can do. So this is an interesting one because I think today, if you ask this today, I think physicality is a big one.
I would say I am going to say physicality, but I would love to say technique because I love the tiki taka.
Yeah, you like that type of football.
Yeah, I like that football where sometimes it's not always rushed; it's patient.
Barcelona, Pepe,
finding a solution.
Yeah.
I like that type of football. I love watching that type of football, and I think if I ever I want to get into coaching after football, that will probably be my philosophy and my style or play that.
Would you consider that? Like, would you want to be 100%. Like coaching?
Yeah. I want to do my badges after football and see where that takes me. Like I said before, I did a bit of coaching before and coaching young kids, and I love it. I love seeing kids grow and get better. So yeah, I'd love to go down that avenue and see where it takes me. So that would be.
So that's where you can merge those two together.
Yeah,
technicality and technique and physicality. Hardest position on the pitch?
I'm gonna say midfield, but then I'm also gonna say keeper, and not many people would say keeper. I think because I think it can be. It's such a difficult position, and keepers, if they make a mistake, it leads to goals, and goals win you games. So, like, I think you could probably, if you're young and worked hard at being a keeper, you could become very good. Whereas it's not like that for an outfield player. Like you can put in the work, but sometimes you're not going to be that player. But with the keeper, it's so crucial that you're at on your game 100%. For 90 plus minutes. You could face no shots for 85 minutes,
And then one
goes
that's
in,
true.
and
That's
then
very true.
people are blaming you, you know? So it's like, yeah, I don't think many people would say that, but I feel for keepers because
Right.
I'd like to say midfield. I play midfield, so, but yeah, I think keeper.
Right, interesting. I did not see that coming at
Yeah.
all. For me, yeah, like central defending midfielder, like box to box. Those
Just the reading of the game. I would normally say that, but I can also see the other side of it as being a keeper.
damn, yeah, I didn't not see that coming. Do you have to have a man purse to be a pro footballer?
A man purse?
Yeah.
You mean like a toiletry bag? Yeah, I think that's it. I think that, like I said, I got into that footballing life when I was 17, and it was one of the first things I bought. I still have the same one. Though. So I've got good value out of it. But I think, majority of footballers do have a wash bag. Well, you call it wash bag, toiletry bag. But it's very helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Very helpful.
No, I asked my brother-in-law about that. So, man, that's really helpful. And that's why everybody carries one.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah.
But you can definitely see when a trend started. Because footballers are, they're in that sort of scene of like, especially in Europe, like fashion and all these things.
But like I came back to New Zealand, I think in the off season when I had one, and like my brothers and cousins and what are you doing? Like, who are you? Like sort of thing. But yeah, I guess you have to have one.
There you go. Most underrated football attribute.
It's a tough one that.
Have a good first touch. That's mine. Like the first touch to me.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, first touch. Yeah, it sets you up for everything. I should have got that. Yeah, first touch. I think that sets you up for everything. If you've got a good first touch, then you can do a lot more with the ball. If you don't,
yeah,
you
man.
need
And
2, 3, 4.
There are little things that when I went to Colombia recently, and I trained with my brother-in-law is a ex-professional football player. He now coaches at like really high level. And I went to train with these kids, and I did a drill with them, and I was like, "Oh, this is easy. I'll do it." And I sucked at it, and I was like, "What? This is..." And then he told me a couple of little things about like first touches that completely changed the way I looked at things.
Yeah,
in terms of the way of receiving the ball and how you pass the ball for that particular movement. And I thought, man, and then I started analyzing players that did that really well, and the difference is tremendous.
Yeah,
like first touch, it does. You could like it can open up an entire goal just by doing that. So for me, that would be one that I don't think is really underrated. One rule of football you would change if you could.
VAR.
Is that right?
They also got a new rule with this goalkeeper thing, huh? The 7 seconds. Is it?
Yeah. They have to release the ball within like a time frame.
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I guess keepers do.
Well, it's because he's used a lot for time wasting, right?
Time wasting. Yeah, probably VAR. Like it does some good stuff.
Yeah.
But I think you don't like. I think like Sam scored a goal on the weekend and he didn't really celebrate because you never know with VAR.
Oh, that's very true. He did not celebrate.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I think that takes away that side of it with the celebrations. I think players don't like. There's players that still do it out there, but there's also a lot of players that don't celebrate so much because in the back of your mind you think you might be offside or
right. But don't you think, like, for example, that's not as bad as, let's say, World Cup Mexico against Netherlands, and it's like a straight up dive.
Yeah,
that
I can
gets you out of the World Cup.
Yeah, but yeah.
But if at that time and that game that would have been VAR, that would have been another time.
Yeah, of course. But then I also I watched. I'm a Liverpool supporter. I watched I think the game last week, and they went to upstairs for like 6-7 minutes. Like if you're looking at it for that long.
Oh yeah, no, there's some ridiculous stuff that happens.
If you're looking at it for that long.
Actually, you talk about Liverpool. Last season, Liverpool scored like a perfectly legal goal against Tottenham.
Yeah, Luis Diaz scored that.
That's
goal.
why
you remember it.
Yeah, and that was insane. Like the guys at the VAR were saying, like, that's a legit goal.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, too late. Like we already, and it's like,
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But I think if VAR, I think if you're looking at it for too long, then you should just stick with your on-field decision.
Right.
Like there's some good in it.
The thing about one, it will be the one for me. I think is too much uncertainty, or no uncertainty. The word is too much room for interpretation when it comes to offsides.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the VAR, right? Like right now, you check a decision for VAR. It's like the elbow.
They're changing all the
sometimes, and depends on even the
Even
league.
for handballs. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's all super open to interpretation. And those ones are even harder now with VAR because you see it and you go, oh, good Lord. Like recently there was a Champions League game, I think, or something. I think it was Liverpool that won that game, didn't they? And they have like 2 penalties or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that would be one that I think like they should just make a standard rule. Like, what is it? Like, how do you... And I think they wanted to do it so that the player has to be... Their body has to be 100% over for it to be offside.
Okay.
And the reason behind that, I think they're saying, is so that more goals are scored.
Yeah.
So, the player has to be fully behind they put the lines. And if he's a little bit here, then he's onside. You know what I mean? So at least it's like the entire player. It's not like the toe or sometimes it's like the shoulder.
Yeah, it makes it difficult. Maybe another rule or changes. Everyone on the bench can play. Like you can make as many if you have 7 players on the bench.
Oh, you can make as many
subs.
Do you see that they did this?
But only on 3 cycles still.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
They did this new. They tested this new rule at under 20s World Cup. Have you seen that? Yeah. They tested this thing where they have like three times that the staff could request a VAR.
Oh, with the card.
Yeah, with a little card.
I did see that.
Yeah, it was quite weird.
Yeah.
It was quite weird because, of course, like when it gets to the end of the game and you still have 3, you just want to check everything. And
I think we're just scraping the barrel.
Yeah.
Everything, we're going to end up having like, I know most rules in rugby, but like now there's so many different rules in rugby that the game just slows down. I think the last thing you want to do is slow the game down even more. Like it's a fast tempo game. Like I think if you're doing that many changes, like probably 1 card would be okay. I don't know, but 3, it's like you said, come towards the end of the game, you're just gonna be chucking.
Yeah, that's what happened, right? So that's one of those things that. And you see the difference. I think I watched the Champions League game last week of Bayern Munich. And, bro, the first, 30 minutes of the game was barely any fouls.
Yeah.
And you could see how, engaging that was. Like, the entire game was just action.
Yeah.
And like you said, sometimes with, again, fouls or checks or something, that the game just delays and they break and, so, 100%. Hey, if you want to support the podcast and you like some high quality merch, we got some great stuff at the meldingmuse.com. I'll leave you guys the link here and a special promotion if you want to cop some hats and some t-shirts, free shipping as well. So I'll see you there. And I have this one. Describe your play style in 3 words or 2. You could be less than 2, than 3.
Calm. I want to say creative. Winner.
Okay.
I have that winning mentality. I think at the end of the day, you want to win, right?
Yeah.
So
nice. I would have 1 word there. I don't know which one I would replace though, but precision I think is a good one. That this describes your style of play. I really like that. I mentioned about the calmness, which reminds me a lot of like Sergio Busquets and all these guys that have no idea how they can keep calm when they play in that position and like players are coming from all sides and it's so calm and collected.
That's a good one.
But yeah, precision I think is another one. Francis also has that.
Oh, definitely.
Bro, I had this thing which is when you look at this picture. And if you look at that kid and you could give him one piece of advice, what would it be?
Just keep working hard. Like you're gonna have your ups and your downs, and when you have your downs, keep working hard and stay grounded, stay humble, and just enjoy the ride. Whether through the highs and lows, just enjoy it. Just have fun.
Live in the present moment.
Now that I'm a bit older now, it's just about really enjoying it and trying to have fun with it. Yeah.
Nice. I found that photo and I thought, oh, damn, bro, this is like how young you were. When you were.
That's like the Olympics, huh?
Crazy. Bro, I have this other section that I do with all my guests, which is called the Soundboard, which is essentially what you got here is a board with a bunch of little buttons. And behind each button, there's a question of all types. Some of them funny, some of them, philosophical?
Yeah.
Just tap whatever you feel like.
Let's go with it's a pizza.
If you had to choose one food to eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I want to say Japanese cuisine.
Japanese?
Anything like
Just
that.
anything Japanese?
I love sushi. So yeah.
Nice. Let's have another one, bro.
Let's play a game. Tell us 3 things about yourself. 1 true and 2 false.
1 true and 2 false.
Actually, do it the other way. Give us 2 true and 1 false.
2 true and 1 false.
I have to guess which one is the false one.
I've captained the All Whites in a game.
Make it difficult, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I've played against Marcelo, and I got to play against my favourite player, Steven Gerrard.
Okay, so the first one I think is true. You captain, that's for sure. I know that one. You played against Marcelo. I think it is true. You didn't play against Gerrard.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's the one I wish was true. Though.
Yeah.
It's tough that.
Actually, what do you think of Liverpool situation right now? You're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, look, it's hard for me to watch games now with our busy schedule. So and like the timings of them. I actually watched the other one, the game yesterday morning, which was nice on a day off. It was a good result. But yeah, look, like. Even like the best players or the best football clubs, like you can have these moments, right? So when you're having your highs, like I said, enjoy them. But look, they've brought in new players that can always be a big change for big money, and also they had a massive loss in Diogo Jota, and I'm sure that has had probably a big impact, not just to the playing squad but the whole football club. But yeah, it's been as a supporter, they're not doing so well. But also they did win the Prem last season and in the first year of Arnie Slot. But yeah, hopefully they can get back to winning ways, and the new players that have come in can gel. And obviously with Salah, the stuff that's happening with Salah, it's good to see him play the other day. It looked like it was going to be his last game.
Yeah, it is tough.
It's not pretty going against the coach like that.
Because I support it. I don't have a Premier League club or anything like that. Because I have my home country's club that I support. But I support any team that a Colombian plays on.
Yes. So
in this moment,
last season.
Yeah, so I supported Liverpool last season because of Diaz or Crystal Palace. There's a bunch of Colombians.
That's been a big miss though. When they sold him, I was like...
Yeah, and a lot of people have been talking about, because Diaz is killing it at Munich.
Yeah.
Which is great for us heading towards the World Cup. And I watched a couple of analyses that they were doing about the impact that he had in Liverpool, even just defensively speaking, and how like Salah managed to score so many goals because of how much he freed up in terms of the workload that he took.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting, isn't it? Like that team, how a couple of players left and suddenly they're completely different squad. And they analyze a couple of different plays and how they've moved completely different now with this new team.
Yeah.
And incredible, like how these players could make such a huge difference.
Yeah, massively. Like he's such a talent, but it's hard to replace, world-class players like that. And then like obviously you bring new players in and you never know how they're really going to go, if they're going to fit into the way that the manager plays, or are they going to gel well with the players. So even though they've brought in players for a huge amount of money, it's not certain that it's going to work.
That's true.
And like you said, you've got to have players, majority of the players out on the field, everyone's got to do the hard work, right? But in some teams, you have that one special player that probably doesn't do so much, like the big clubs have it, Real Madrid have it, Barcelona had it, but sometimes they're not working hard, but they're just smart. They're working in behind you when you don't realize. But yeah, Diaz did a lot of work for Liverpool, and they probably lost that little bit of hunger and that feistiness that he brought to the team. Yeah,
that's what a lot of people were saying too. Like he would shine in moments where the team was kind of struggling a little bit or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's quite interesting to see. And I was going to ask you something before. Oh yeah, was that something that, for example, last season you guys had a tremendous season, lots of players some players left, some joined the team. Did that sort of also come to your mind? Like, is that something that you guys think about? Like, you think about, like, oh man, I don't know how this team is gonna play. Is that something that you could sort of see how the team is gelling from the first sort of couple of trainings, or do you actually, assess that actually at game day?
To be fair, we didn't have that many boys leave.
No, not that many. I mean, Nadar left.
Nadar left, or look, Nadar scored some crucial goals for us,
he did,
and he was someone that could score a goal from nothing. You know, he had that, the aspect of his game, and then we obviously lost Max. That was only on loan though. A big boy, good at holding up the ball, scored the odd goal.
Alex.
But then Alex is a big miss, and I think there was a few like question marks around him leaving and Vald coming in, but Vald's done an amazing job, like so level-headed, and his professionalism last season, like he thought he was going to be number one last season. Then AP comes in from loan from a Premier League team, and he plays, but like the way that Michael Vald, his situation now, he's getting his opportunity. He's doing so well, which is awesome to see. And then we lost Scott Galloway, but he had quite a few injuries last season. So he didn't really feature too much. But then we've brought in some decent players, like big boy, like Sam up front, like sort of similar to Max, but even bigger.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big
and now he's popping up with goals. Lockie Brooks come in, and he's been a brilliant signing so far. And like when we train, like you can just see so much talent, and like when it comes to the weekend, like if one player has to come off and another comes on, it's sort of like for like, we have such a strong squad. Like if you look at our bench from our last game against the Mariners,
mate, I was actually
like probably, well, I don't know, I don't watch too much A-League back in the day and know all the players, but that bench on the weekend was pretty special.
Yeah, and also you can tell by like I know Colin Elliott had a own goal, but that dude is killing it, dude.
So good.
Because when you lose Hiroki Sakai to an injury, you go, oh god damn it. But then this kid steps up, and he's been one of the highlights for me as well.
Yeah, massively.
Like, with Jesse and stuff, he's been killing it as well. But yeah, you always sort of question what the changes are going to be. The I forget his name always. The new centre back as well. He's doing really well.
Jake. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's on loan from the MLS. He's probably given that sort of like us playing a bit more. He's very calm on the ball as a centre back. I think he can also play midfield. When he was younger, he played midfield. From speaking to him, but he's got that edge of calmness on the ball. Sometimes it's, if it's not on, to come back out and go the other way. But he's been awesome. Like he's not the tallest, but he wins a lot of headers
and stuff.
Sweeps up very well. Communication very good. So yeah, he's been another one that's coming and done extremely well. And,
I mean, like you said, the bench you got.
Like Nando was in Team of the Year last year.
I know, man.
and
now he's not even playing.
Yeah. So like
Marley Francois as well scored a banger of a goal. He was playing really well. Now he's not playing.
Yeah.
It's a stuck team, man.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
I think it's a good it's a challenging thing for a coach, but also a good thing that whoever you bring on is going to give you quality and like the trainings that we do, like the top up stuff that when you don't play is so challenging, very tough. But that's just to get you ready, just in case you need to be called into the starting 11. So probably the squad is just very good, and even the scholarship boys, they train very well.
I was going to ask you about those boys. Who are some of those highlights that you think this kid, kind of like Randall, how he sort of stepped up really good.
Yeah.
Who are some of these boys that we probably haven't seen play or play a little minutes that you think this kid's got a lot of potential? Like
all of them do. Yeah. They've got a chance to get a pro contract. They're doing all the right things. Like people probably don't, unless you go to the reserve games, you probably don't see too much of them. You see the odd appearance from there, here and there, but not too much. But all the boys, I think Ollie, Adama, Finn, they all went to the 20s World Cup, like
Yeah.
under 20s World Cup, and they played quite a fair bit. So they're good players. But also it can be a challenging thing when you see the squad,
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
like
Yeah.
the quality of the squad. But there's definitely a pathway there, like here for them. But that will put them also, if it doesn't work out here, put them in good stead for the future. Yeah, like John, like I think I said, the best finisher at the club on those questions was
Oh,
John
yeah,
T.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So like they've all got their own attributes that they're really good at. So yeah, I'm hopefully in the future the fans and people that come to watch will be able to see them play more.
What part of your story do people misunderstand the most? And what truth do you wish they knew instead?
Probably like the sacrifice that we spoke about.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just what the pathway I've decided to go down, and probably put family first.
Yeah.
My daughter first before football through probably the last 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not many people know about it. The ones close to me know like what goes around, like what happens at home, like what I have to deal with, what my partner has to deal with.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, not going into detail, that it's very challenging.
Yeah.
So probably that.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much.
No worries.
That's pretty much it. I did have another question I wanted to ask you, but I forgot now. It's probably about football. I love talking about football, man.
Yeah.
You spend hours talking about football.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about the World Cup. You want to give us a prediction who you think is going to win it?
I'm gonna go back to back Argentina.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn.
back to back. I'm a big Messi fan.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Who do you think will be like a revelation in this tournament? Like Morocco has been a big revelations across.
Yeah, even in the young groups.
Even in the young groups, yep.
They just won the 17s or 20. One of them.
Yeah. And the 20s.
Yeah, Morocco could be like a dark horse.
Yep.
I actually would like to see England win a World Cup also.
Really?
Yeah, like I think, like growing up, like the All Whites weren't always in World Cups, and England, just because I watched the Premier League a lot, I think you had that connection with England, and then my partner's from England. So yeah, I'd like to see them do well. They've got
the squad is
unbelievable.
Crazy. Yeah, the squad is unbelievable.
So yeah, I'd say them. England or Argentina.
Okay. I wouldn't say Argentina. I would probably go with Spain.
Yeah.
I think Spain is just absolutely insane right now.
Yeah.
But I'm very hopeful that Colombia is going to do really well. We have great players. I think this particular World Cup, I'm super excited for the level because we played really, really well.
Who's in the group?
We have Portugal, which, by the way, was the biggest game in the entire World Cup. It sold out in seconds. It's the biggest right now. It was all madness. To get a ticket is like $2,000 or something. But we need to top that group because essentially the group is Portugal, Uzbekistan, and I think the other one is like a winner between Jamaica, New Caledonia, one of those ones. So, I mean, pretty confident that we're going to get through those other two teams. But the game against Portugal will basically define who goes first, right?
Yeah.
And if we go second, we end up playing either against Croatia or England.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's like a really good. Yeah. It's a decider because you go with, if you get top of the group, you end up playing third.
Okay.
Which will be like, I mean, based on my prediction, will probably be Ghana.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot more doable than facing England or Croatia.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see what happens. But we definitely got a really good game on our hands. Portugal, I think, has a crazy squad too. Yeah. I think Portugal is one of those ones that could be like a contention. Like if you look at their squad.
Yeah, they're top.
Top, man. I actually use them in PlayStation when I play FIFA.
Oh yeah,
that's
your team.
Yeah, that's my team. Because my best friend that plays FIFA with me always chooses France, which is the stacked.
Yeah.
And so I
usually
can
put 5 squads out and be competitive at a World Cup.
Exactly. Hey Cam, thank you very much for taking the time. We could spend hours talking about football here. Wish you nothing but the best. We'll see you at the grounds. I'm definitely come to as many games as I can. I was going to ask you about your positioning, actually. I forgot about that because before we wrap up, actually, I wanted to get this question. Because I've seen you play in different positions. And a couple of games before, actually, you coach brought you in. And I was like, what position is he playing on? Because you were like pressing up there like a. It's kind of like a cam, but with a winger pressure, all out. What type of what's your position really at Auckland FC?
Yeah, look, I'm a midfielder, an 8 or a 6. I can play 10. I wouldn't say a striker, but I have been put in those positions throughout my time at Auckland FC, which is a little bit foreign to me.
Yeah.
But they see that I can do a job there. Look, we've got good midfielders in our squad like Jake, Felipe, Louis. Yeah. So there's a lot of competition for places there. And I think, just occasionally I have played up front as a 2. It's not my preferred position. Yeah. But if the coach at the end of the day is going to come to me on Friday saying you're going to play up front Saturday, I'm going to play less. There. Yeah. But I've always, since I was early on, I said that I was a striker growing up. But then since then, I've always been a midfielder, and I see myself as a midfield. I train as a midfield. But
he's more of an 8 or a 6.
Still, 30 years of age, and I still don't know what one I prefer. I enjoy playing both ones.
Yeah, right.
Probably, if I was to play as a single 6, I would like to do that.
Right.
If it's 2 6s, I'd rather play as probably like a 10.
Right.
But I'm comfortable in all those positions.
Yeah.
I find myself playing I've played wing for Auckland FC as well. I played up front. I'm quite versatile.
Right. Yeah. Because you have a really good mix of obviously great attacking quality, but your defending is also phenomenal. Yeah. So that's why I think a little bit, for a coach, he's like he can put you anywhere really. Yeah. And I've seen you play in so many different positions in Auckland FC, so that's why I'm like, man, this guy.
I get this question a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. That's awesome. Sorry. Let's wrap up.
All good, bro.
Thank you very much, bro, for taking the time. For all of you who listen to us, and hopefully you get something beautiful out of this conversation, to get inspired, to chase something great, spend time with your loved ones. Go and support the team. I go pretty much every weekend whenever I can. Last couple of games I couldn't go because my baby, but waiting for the moment for taking her.
Yeah.
And enjoy the atmosphere. To everybody at Auckland FC, they've done an absolutely phenomenal job with this team. So shout out to them. I'm a designer and I'm working marketing and all of that as well. So seeing amazing work always makes me really happy. And I think they've done absolutely amazing. So shout out to all of them. Thank you for taking the time. Remember to drink water and remember to exercise, and ciao, ciao. If this content speaks to you, subscribing to the channel is one of the most powerful ways you can support what we're building here. That one small action can help us grow and continue to build this to more than just a podcast, but a community and a movement. Aroha nui, muchas gracias, ciao ciao. Thank you for watching this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, I'll leave you another episode here. And if you'd like to support us, visit demeanour.com. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next one.